So we are here to give you like quick overview and like what is happening right now regarding Zcash and the Zcash implementation that's on the road. So there is right now in development, a Zcash Rust implementation done by Parity here in Berlin. Like not actually here in Berlin, but located here in Berlin. So last autumn, Parity and the Zcash Foundation partnered to give an implementation in Rust. This is a fork of the Parity Bitcoin code, and we're using the Rust cryptographic libraries from the Electric Coin company, so before the Zcash company.
All right, so maybe I'll tell a bit about the calls. So currently, Zcash, there's a single implementation of Zcash protocol, and as many of you know, if there's just a single implementation, basically the specification of the protocol very often reflects all the bugs that may be like in this implementation. It was the case for Bitcoin, so there are like many bugs in their interpreter or other parts of the code base that other implementations of Bitcoin had to replicate in the future. Basically, this new implementation will give like Zcash Foundation, Zcash ecosystem, something that Ethereum had from day one. So basically, it will separate implementation from the specification. So we'll have multiple clients. This is a second point, like prevent implementation-specific bugs. We base our Zcash implementation on top of Parity Bitcoin code base. So Parity Bitcoin, it's not well-known project. So at Parity, there was like a group of Chinese miners that reached out to us like in I think 2016, who asked us to implement like an independent node implementation, Bitcoin node implementation from scratch, and we did that in 2016 and early 2017. But since then, this implementation hasn't got much traction. It was used by several smaller projects, and we only implemented the features that were required like by those projects. But it's not a like fully featured, well-optimized implementation. But right now we are hoping that with the Zcash implementation, with the Zcash fork, we can actually take this implementation to the next level. So implement many optimizations in which both Bitcoin implementation and the Zcash implementation will benefit from those optimizations that we'll implement for Zcash. And the last point is a possibility for Polkadot with Zcash bridge. So basically, at Parity, like our priority number one right now is Substrate, which is the framework for building blockchains, and Polkadot, which is a project to connect those blockchains together. And eventually, we'd like to also build a bridge between Zcash client and Polkadot client. So this implementation will be just the most critical part of this project. Yeah.
And I think in general, this quote from Josh from the foundation actually captures it quite well, who said that an independent node implementation provides more options for the Zcash miners and users, which promotes healthy decentralization of the cryptocurrency protocol as it matures. And this is exactly what the Zcash Foundation wants from this implementation. We just want the Zcash community to grow and have different options and not only one. So where can we find this implementation? It's on GitHub, and you can have a look and build it and run a node if you're interested. Right now, what we're doing is it's still in development progress, but we're good. We're optimizing and testing. So if you want to run and like find some cool warnings or anything, let us know. And we can also give you an overview. So what we still are doing is we're benchmarking and we're testing, optimizing, seeing how things are going. The other thing is always that documentation is always nice. We're not there yet. And of course, that's why we are telling you about this. We want people to like use it for now, like for test reasons, and also like for you to spread the word.
Yeah, I think this code base is also very good for Rust beginners because it's relatively small compared to other like crypto projects, mostly because of lack of those features that we just haven't implemented yet. So there's like the RPC is just very basic, and like there's not that many optimizations. So if you just want to get some hands-on on Rust, like just yeah, I think it's a good repo to look at. And if you don't understand something, just create an issue on GitHub, and there'll be someone answering it and helping you out.
So that's it from us. And if you want to contribute, here's the repo again. Contact us on Twitter as well if you have any questions. And yeah, we'll take questions if you want, if we have time for that.
Is it reference compliant yet? Can it sync like to the head of the Zcash chain?
Sorry?
Is it reference compliant yet with the reference node?
So yeah, we are importing the Zcash database. That should be working. And yeah, so you can check it out and syncing and everything.
Yeah, so there are like two options. So I mean, there were two options with the Parity Bitcoin client. So you can either sync the chain, or you can basically import like the existing Zcash database. So I actually don't remember, like, so we had like an open issue for importing the database because we did it for Bitcoin, but oh, is it, okay, it's working as well here. Ready, so.
Any other questions?
So, and if you want to run it, by the way, yeah, you can run the release version because the debugging version will take a little longer.
Do you plan to expand with respect to the original specification of the protocol?
Right now, not. So we are right now focusing on like sapling and sprout specifications. Of course, if like Blossom is going to come up, I think this will come like, of course, in our like timeline. But for now, we're like optimizing the code that we have for sapling. Yeah, sure.
So I think that in future it's possible to do something that we have, for example, with Parity Ethereum client. So basically have a set of command line options that allows you to kind of load some specific chain or some specific options. So in Parity Ethereum, we currently support, I don't know, like by default 15 different cryptocurrencies, and some of those cryptocurrencies have, I don't know, like slightly modified state transition mechanism. There's I don't know, some new opcode enabled and stuff like that. So I think it's possible to also make this kind of modifications to Zcash implementation in future, and allow you to experiment with the code base, with the protocol, and maybe possibly submit some like improvement proposal to the Zcash Foundation.
I was specifically thinking about the Rust implementation of bulletproofs, since it's the best one in performance. So I was thinking that maybe you were thinking about it.
I mean, as far as I know, not.
Yeah. So as far as I know, not now. Yeah. Like this is not on the.
It's worth to be said that Zcash crypto, like all the sapling stuff, is also implemented in Rust. So all of their stuff is also already in Rust. It's just wrapped around a bunch of C++. And yeah, like having some insight into working on this, part of the goal is to give more power to the Zcash Foundation over the Electric Coin Company, and therefore like start having a conversation of which improvements are possible and start collaborating in a slightly more decentralized fashion.
Thanks for saying that, Fred. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let's thank Anna and Marek again.